See, smart city itself is one of the really popular project which was introduced, where we looked at various projects which will make the city more likable, and the projects were not specific. There was a little bit of lot of flexibility was there. Maybe it is temple tank renovation or tank rejuvenation, or maybe it is development of park. But most importantly, the smart features which people, particularly the newer generation, like, where it should be pedestrian friendly. People should get a lot of facilities when they go for purchases, and most importantly, it is focused on rejuvenating our existing marketplaces, which are very popular among people, but slowly losing out to various other malls and other places. So, the traditionally successful marketing places and the business establishment, and of course, even the parks and the play fields.
Coming to the street project, what are the key highlights of the street project?
See, this is one of the most pioneering project, I should say. Whoever comes to Chennai, whether if you look at from the past, everybody will say that I have come to Pondy Bazar, I have come to T Nagar. That is the business hub. As we say that 1/7 of the population of Tamil Nadu lives in Chennai. Here, whoever comes to Chennai, either he will talk about Marina Beach, Elliott's Beach, or the beach road and the historic structures and ribbon building. When it comes to shopping, they will always talk about Pondy Bazar and T Nagar. So, what was happening was that this particular street, we decided to give more importance to pedestrian than to vehicular traffic. It was otherwise getting congested. The pedestrian, instead of pedestrians, there were a lot of people doing street selling and all. So, it was a very, very comprehensive project with stakeholder participation, especially with the businesses, and to ensure that there are a lot of activities, apart from pedestrian free walking spaces, also the existing structures without getting damaged. If there is a huge electric transformer, it was neatly getting covered through view cutters, plus for the shopping people also, to get a unique shopping experience where they could walk through. There are places for people to sit, relax, and in case just look at window shopping also. So, there are multiple features involved in this particular pioneering project. A lot of the skepticism was there about this project, but touchwood, it has been one of the most hailed projects as far as the street project is concerned. Now, under the World Bank, we are also looking at improving a number of such mega streets, replicating this success in other areas also. See, the key learning is, one, we need to bring the stakeholder into confidence. The biggest challenge for any urban project or an urban renewal project is that the existing stakeholder are always conservative. They think that if we change, we may lose business. Even now, if a metro train line is coming up, they will think that I lost business, sir. So, they are not able to foresee that these kind of changes will bring a lot more revenue. The proof is that compared to what revenue they used to earn, today they are earning 20% more. That itself is able, but this they may not be able to immediately understand. The immediate benefit of ability to park just close to the shop, allow some other vendor subletting the vendor in the pedestrian areas and getting a small amount of additional money. Those things were impeding the project. There was a lot of resistance initially, but that was sorted out by multiple stakeholder consultations, to be very frank, to bring that confidence into them, not holding anything back, because always there will be canard spread saying that it will be at your cost. That was not so. Your shops will remain, but this will ensure that the shopping experience becomes. That was very big learning for us. Second learning was that when all such projects are envisaged, suddenly what happens, we don't look into the service things which we have to change. So, when we had to actually start, that delayed the projects. And of course, a little bit COVID did affect it, but that is part of an international thing. But overall, our learning was that in such projects we should do. The last learning is that we should not go away from the original aim. The original aim was to keep it pedestrian friendly, and it should be free from parking, and for that there was a multi-level car parking. So, that regulation had to be continuously done. Similarly, when you find such vacant places late in the night, people tend to misuse it, late night parking and so on. So the regulation aspect was another learning that, if you have to maintain the success, you have to continue that. Initial, the biggest success I found is that, people did not tamper with the beautification which was done by and large. Last but not least, one more learning which I found was that, for elderly people, probably a battery operated vehicle and all would add value to a highly successful project, so that, they are also able to enjoy, other than, the children love to walk, the middle aged people love to walk, and most importantly, the biggest joy they get is when we organize programs there. So there was a very big learning that, these kind of street side programs, we find that a flash crowd and a flash mob being created. Those kind of things was what really made this area very successful. Even during our Madras week and all, we utilize the Madras week, month and all, we utilize those spaces to make this more interactive. So there are many learnings, to be very frank. Ultimately the learning is that everybody wants the city to get renewed. Everybody is proud of these kind of permanent improvements rather than cosmetic, just painting around and doing thing. That also they like. But whenever we go for a permanent kind of improvements like this, they really appreciate it, they get involved, and I am extremely happy that the shopkeepers come back and say that, their revenues have improved. See, the pushback was there because, not only pushback was not only from them, even from our own, lot of people have a lot of civic interest, but they go by perception. It can be even officers like me, to be very honest, I am just giving not that I was having a perceptual problem, I am telling that, people tend to look at it very simply. They will say that why such a big payment, why not allow two-way. So similarly, the shop owners are entire business has gone. My business, particularly at the construction stage, that is the stage where we need to weather the storm, and we should not waver from what we originally envisaged. Suppose we start compromising on the original goals, then what will happen is it will entirely get compromised, and people will not get the end result of what we promised in megas, these kind of wonderful pedestrian plaza based streets. So that is where I think the success of the project is those people who are executing at that time held back, weathered the storm, and continuous criticism or engineered criticism, they kept on clarifying from perception to reality. And as people started seeing the visual improvement and the international class of streets coming, they started embracing it. I found young children, they were really happy, young adults. They felt that so much place for us to walk around and just go around. Then you have hot coffee being served in one place, and all the different kinds of whether it is clothing or other thing, they are there. So even though it was there, it was the other big lesson is we also have lessons where when people refuse renewal, or they that also we told them. You have got certain other place like Fountain Plaza, Alsa Mall, the other happening places, Prince. Somewhere down the line, they did not, they were not willing for change. So that led to the happening crowd moving away from there to initially Spencer Plaza, then initially City Center, then into other malls. So instead of that happening, what was the beauty of this particular project in Pondy Bazar was that's a huge commercial space. Instead of they losing out on the newer malls and upmarket facilities, people started coming back in hordes back to that. So that became a lesson where others are also now seeking that if you could renew Monteith Street, or if you could renew Pantheon Road. So we are also doing it in a slightly different way, that every street cannot be duplicated or replicated. So these are something where ultimately it should be participatory. Second is elected representatives should also be taken into confidence. Third is we should not keep anything to ourselves and not have tricks under the sleeve. When you tell them, tell it openly, this is what we are doing, this is what we expect. So definitely I feel that after initial diffidence, as the project started getting completed, everybody was happy. People misusing our EB pole for defecating or urinating late in the night, everything stopped. So, they also started owner, indirectly they start, the success would be when local people start owning it up. That would perhaps be the success. That does not mean that there are no risks. These are projects in any city has to be constantly monitored and evaluated for more than mid-course connection, preventing mid-course deviation from the original goal. So, original goal has been with lot of participation. So, if we deviate from any or you do a diametrically U-turn, we will lose out. So, there will be challenges, suddenly you will find that the initial part would be a hardware kind of thing. So, we should find solutions for them. And again challenge which we are facing is that people not trying to use the multi-level car parking. So, we are looking at how to improve that aspect also. So, it is a constant thing, nothing is 0 and 1, but I would definitely rate it as 90% and above as far as success is there. 10 to 15% kind of up and down will constantly be there. You will suddenly find a shopkeeper trying to sell it for a late night park. We have to catch and prevent it, but touch wood, the shopkeepers and the associations have been highly cooperative for this venture, and most importantly, since their businesses have actually shown a upswing, they feel very happy that it is not something which is a dream of a bureaucrat or a dream of a individual government, but it is the way forward as far as absolute renewal of such highly high potentially growth oriented places. So, I found that this has given us an opportunity to look at 11 more such streets which we can work on, and out of this I think 2 to 3 streets we will be doing now only, but with corresponding changes. It is not going to replicate. We will look at the North Chennai empty road is there. So, what is the demand there? That kind of orientation, but this this street will get replicated into mega streets. Already it has been with modification included in mega streets program. So, it will be a continuous exercise. I thank Government of India for always encouraging such innovations, and we in a traditional city like Chennai are rapidly retaining our original beautiful infra. You are in such a historic building, or Beach Road has such historic building, but history with modernity is our goal, so that we do not lose track of our history, the museums and all the other places, but on the other hand we ensure that the vibrant markets which we are there, they do not lose out on the newer kind of replication. We have many mega malls in US. So, every city you go it looks similar. So, that kind of thing we would like us. So, I think Government of India and the state government, Ministry of Housing and Urban Development and the entire team, the state government, municipal administration, water supply, our own honorable Prime Minister, honorable Chief Minister, our ministers, everybody getting involved and owning it up is where we have succeeded. And of course, grassroots level, elected people and area sabhas. Area sabhas is a group of people joining together with the councillor having their own stakes. So, I think we are on the right track. We will continue to improve it and continue to ensure that it is not only maintained well, but we ensure that whatever we promised in the beginning, it is also expanded to make it much more lively and entertaining.
So we have 3 more questions. How do you engage with the community during the process?
See, that is a very tough question, because there are multiple stakeholders and there is not one association. So, you have to engage individually on people who are diametrically totally opposed to the project, and also associations. And as the majority changes, we need to tell them that nothing is 0 and 1. The 0 is they will say sab kuch khatam ho gaya, hamara pura business chala gaya, my entire business is gone. So, now that it has gone, so we need to do, do not worry. And we will also not promise that it is going to be multiple times, 10 times you are going to win. So, we tackle the associations separately. Then we also did not ignore individuals. They could immediately go and get a stay through cases or something like that. So, the individuals are also taken into confidence, and especially in the very critical phase we said give us a chance. It was more like telling, not pleading, but telling them in a persuasive manner, if you give us a chance you will see an entirely renewed thing. And we had thrown in examples of areas which have lost out, happening places I want those places also to get revived, and they are getting revived. So, I do not want to keep repeating the areas which lost out. So, they also realize that as things move on, online thing goes. So, unless they offer something extractive, it is more like akin to 80s and 90s when cinemas, people stopped going to cinema theatre, then the cinemas reinvented themselves and they made it a happening place. So, we told them also, if you lose out, suddenly you will become fossilized. Slowly then you will feel bad that we did not participate. By and large, I feel that people are reasonable as long as we share all information. So, that was both individual and association based, and a little bit of gentle persuasion, because not many people are interested in outcomes. They are only looking at immediate outputs and indicators. And because you cut my shop last 1 week business is down, that is an indicator, but it will change as things go. And the last thing which we did was, whenever there was a problem with regard to approach roads, we did it in a very minimalistic fashion that he does not suffer. He has an alternate route to come. We allowed them to properly advertise that you can come through this way and all. So, they started appreciating that the corporation is not only pretty serious, but it is with a lot of empathy it is doing. So, that would be the right approach, I think, not only for this project. I find for every project social rehabilitation aspect has to be taken, not necessary for international projects.
So, the last question is, what is your advice to other smart cities?
See, one advice to other, I will not say advice, one is we all should share knowledge among each other. Now, I have been to Nasik, I have been to several other smart cities. Every time I keep seeing what I can replicate in my city. See, today India is a cradle where it is growing like anything. We are now 5th largest economy and all, but if that has to continue, if you look at Gurgaon, cyber park, cyber city, or the entire thing, I lived there 10 or 11 years back, and every time I see changes come. So, when we do, so we have to ensure that the smart city caters to every level. So, what we have done is, we have actually dovetailed. Smart city is not done in isolation. We have dovetailed a number of projects, like something called as beautifying Chennai, where we say that if there is a wall tax road, where there is a Patni Plaza, Singapore Plaza, which is again, or Saukarpet, old Chennai, there are hard working people who do not have proper accommodation. So, for them a beautified public convenience is what, for him it is a smart aspect. So, not necessarily every aspect is within smart city. So, dovetailing and a finance plus approach of smart city is not trying to use smart city only as a project, but as an incubator for helping us to develop many more projects, and that can happen only when we all share and not compete with each other. Wherever success stories are there, there is nothing wrong in copying or adoption. I personally feel there is nothing, we should not reinvent the wheel. Many successes, tanks, we have numerous tanks, revival of tanks we have done. We have ropeway kind of projects with hanging jula kind of projects coming up. So, and Mint Street. So, we have ensured that the other projects which the state government is implementing also inbuilds the components of and the objectives of smart city. So, then what happens is, it does not go in just an additive fashion or just I tried to do this, I have completed. It is not a project based, it has to be outcome based. So, instead of addition, instead of multiplication, instead of geometric, when all the projects get into these kind of approaches, we will get all the projects, both state, central government and other departmental projects focused on civic improvement. It becomes a exponential kind of opportunity which we have. That is the goal. So, we are trying to include garbage management under another scheme, reclamation and biomining of big landfills, so that becomes an eco park. So, people will not look at these smart city projects in isolation. So, we have also done some challenges where very good projects in between has had a lack of interest or financial challenges. So, there we need to focus also, if they are really good with a social motive, on viability gap funding. So, we are very much open in all civic approaches. One, learn from each other. Second, if something good, share among each other. Third, existing project build in this objective. Fourth, we also need to ensure that whatever we do and however we have resolved existing challenges, share those things also. It should be more like a solution exchange component of smart city program. So, all in all, I find that that is a wonderful thing, and you hear itself, it looks so smart. So, people get, similarly cities program is going on, externally aided program is going on. All of them, if you look at an overarching approach, would be what was originally seeded as a smart city component. So, I always feel we should be proud of what we have done, but we should always be impatient that there is so much more to do and there is so much more to learn from each other, rather than competing. We should complement the successes of each other and more easily replicate, so that the gestation period of such newer projects are much smaller. Let it be Indore. If they have done something better, nothing wrong in copying. Let it be Nasik. We should copy. We should not feel that I have copied, and there is nothing like competing among cities. India should grow, and it is not just that my city, and within Tamil Nadu it is not just Chennai. Coimbatore should go, Madurai Corporation should go, Trichy should go. Unless we have many more tiers of growth, it will become a myopic kind of growth. And I am very happy that last few years many of such initiatives have ensured that all tier 2, tier 3 cities are also able to correspondingly cater to this. Ultimately, economic growth is a solution for poverty alleviation or upliftment of people. So, this will ensure that it is not only livable, and last but not least most of them are green projects, and we have to look at extreme weather conditions. There should all be disaster reduction friendly component should be done, not just for this, and climate friendly projects. So, I think we have a very good climate action plan also. So, we ensure that all of them fall together and we take these things forward. So, I am really thankful to all who are involved in the smart city component to have done such excellent work in respective cities, more importantly guiding at the national level and hand-holding even at the state level, and grassroots workers. They are the faceless heroes who have actually done the negotiation. We may be commissioners, I may be here, I may be there, we may be those grassroots workers definitely deserve a salute to ensure that our drawing board dreams have been translated into reality, and they are luckily getting noticed and getting replicated. Thank you, and wish everyone all the best in this initiative, and I thank you for this excellent documentation effort.